what exactly makes males better leaders than women?
In terms of what makes a man a better leader, he's far less influenced by emotions. He's far more willing to do what needs to be done for the people over whom he governs than women are. Women are far more likely to allow emotional impulses to govern their judgment, and I think that the historical record is very clear.
I want to weigh in on this really quickly. So obviously what makes a good leader is going to depend on in what context they need to lead. So for example, they've done studies where they found that when women are in top executive positions they studied over 1,000 different companies, and they found that companies that had women in top executive positions, those companies outperformed all of their competitors by near 25%. Even more so, this idea that women are governed by their emotion and men are just the rational ones is just complete nonsense. So there's two different studies that completely just debunk this, okay? The first one being a study that was done recently where they tracked over 152 men and women, and a group of those women were actually even on their period at the time, John, and they found that men and women in that group all reported near identical emotional fluctuation. Not to mention, they've done another study where they presented men and women with complex moral decisions, and they did find that women had a more emotional response. However, the rationale behind the decisions made were no different. Men and women were virtually identical when it came to making rational decisions. Emotion is not actually the antithesis to rationale.
The study that he's referring to with the corporate executives thing, this is a very ad hoc sort of approach where you have these corporations, they don't want a media backlash, they want to look favorable to their donors and everything, so they appoint women to avoid lawsuits. I'm sure they do a great job, but in terms of leadership, who's going to get you across the river, not be across already and be like, okay, my turn. Show me a company that's trading on the NASDAQ or the New York Stock Exchange that was started in a garage and becomes like a multi-billion-dollar company. Every one that you can show me that was started by women and led to that success, there's 100 that were started by men. This is just the nature of the game. I'm sorry. In terms of experience versus, the emotional experience versus acting on that, like we said, men are better at controlling that emotion. We might experience it, but we're better at controlling it. Maybe there's a study with some fun, hypothetical ethical experiments. That's great, but we've had thousands of years of this, and I think that the record is pretty clear.
Well, the thousands of years that you keep referencing are ignoring all kinds of context there, first and foremost. Second of all,
humans are flawed.
Well, hold on, wait. I don't know why you're telling a bedtime story right now to the audience about this study. You're making something up because you're coping over the fact that this study clearly shows that when women are in top executive positions, the companies outperform their competitors by near 25%. This was a study done in 29 different countries with over 1,000 companies. So you can't just tell a story and try to explain it away. That's coping.
You totally can. Show me then those decisions that were made. Establish a common variable and then find some causal link from there. You're going, oh my gosh, the biggest companies are implementing DEI training. But this is like evidence of it's winning. No, show me one that has been built from the ground up by a disproportionate amount of female leaders relative to men, and then I will believe you. But this is just not the case.
Women-owned businesses all over the place obviously are still significantly in the minority. However, again, the study that I'm keep referencing, you keep on trying to run away from and say, show me a woman who started a company in a garage. No, the study that I am referencing demonstrates that there is a strong correlation between women in top executive positions and the company performing better. What that demonstrates is that women do very much have the potential to be far better leaders, or just be as good of leaders as men.
Which I accept the possibility of that, but this idea that, okay, so that's one way to look at it. He is accurate in that. Another way to look at it, which is probably the case, which is that big companies have a social incentive to include more women, more people of color in their top executives. There are NGOs and leftist institutions that literally track this, and if someone's out of line, they have their media watchdog groups go after these people, which affects the stock.
This is the cope.
Rationalization is a cope, ladies and gentlemen.
This
Don't ever
cope,
think
buddy.
about things. Believe the screen people.
No, rationality is not the cope, but trying to just fill in the blanks and say, well, they were probably all just like liberal institutions who were incentivized.
Literally, yes.
That's coping.
Surprisingly, every action you take today might be perceived as a potential warning sign by a woman. Whether you treat her with kindness, adopt a Chad persona, or meet her desires precisely, each scenario raises a red flag. Even not meeting her expectations can become a cause for concern. It's highly likely that your wife or girlfriend has shared numerous red flags about you with her friends, and these warnings linger in the background of every conversation you have with her. In the contemporary dating scene, a notable trend is emerging. Women desire the benefits of a relationship without the associated constraints. While many women appreciate traditional dates and expect chivalry from men, they are hesitant to commit to exclusivity or virtues in return. It appears that women, in general, may not have a clear understanding of their desires at any given moment. Influenced by social media trends and deeply engaged in their social circles, they easily adopt the opinions of others. If a friend deems a man presenting flowers as a red flag, she is likely to accept it, regardless of her previous enjoyment of receiving flowers. Thus, what was once acceptable can suddenly transform into a significant red flag. In my view, a substantial red flag emerges when someone spends years in the dating realm without finding a life partner, getting married, or committing exclusively to one person. Prolonged singledom raises questions about the individual's character. This applies universally, regardless of gender. Establishing a meaningful connection should not be a lengthy, complicated process. Finding the right person is achievable, and it's not as challenging as some may think. Younger men are likely to discover a discrepancy between what women say they want, what they claim to tolerate or reject, and their actual behaviors. Navigating these inconsistencies can be perplexing, but understanding that verbalized preferences may not always align with real-life actions is crucial in navigating the complex landscape of modern relationships. In the realm of existence, red flags are inevitable, and being human entails dealing with a set of problems. Observing the future occupancy of retirement homes, one can't help but ponder the mix of individuals who abandoned dating due to perceived insurmountable challenges and those women who set seemingly unattainable standards. The assertion that women who claim to go on numerous dates daily or accumulate 28 dates in a month must be financially supported by their parents raises questions about the feasibility of such claims. Time constraints, especially for working adults, make it challenging to imagine dedicating the necessary time to swipe and message at that frequency. The contemporary landscape seems to afford women an assumed innocence until proven guilty, in stark contrast to the presumption of guilt often placed on men. Unfortunately, instances arise where men are considered guilty, even when proven innocent, or innocent, despite evidence to the contrary. This shift is lamentable and reflects a broader societal challenge. The dynamic between men and women has evolved into a complex scenario. Initially addressing complaints about compliments, dating pressures, and even casual glances, men responded by fulfilling their desires, only to find that interest waned. This cycle suggests a lack of clear direction. In a gynocentric society, any woman has the potential, if she chooses, to disrupt a man's livelihood with a single accusation, a power imbalance exacerbated by movements like "Believe All Women" within the Me Too movement. The movement, in its inception, aimed at addressing valid concerns, but has since taken a turn against males. The adoption of an ineffective and seemingly misogynistic rule, "Believe All Women," has forced men into a preordained and rigged game. Consequently, many men choose the prudent path, avoiding anything that might be misconstrued and lead to trouble. Current male sentiments toward women often stem from observed behavior. Despite external appearances, a growing sense of irritation and perceived immaturity makes sustained conversations challenging. Men opt to steer clear of potentially ambiguous situations to avoid unintended consequences, irrespective of how appealing women may appear. So, what prompts women to detect red flags in almost every action men take? A pivotal factor contributing to this phenomenon is the concept of hypergamy. Hypergamy is fundamentally driven by convenience and inherent instincts. The need for a receptacle to unload emotional baggage, a platform for potential revenge, and a desire to feel more desirable after leaving a relationship are significant factors. If departing because the grass seems greener elsewhere, being in a new relationship provides a sense of desirability as opposed to feelings of loneliness, sadness, depression, and a lack of direction. Not to be underestimated is the allure of lustful conquest, a powerful motivator until the decision to truly love someone is made. While some may contest this perspective, love is more an action than a mere emotion. Hypergamy is a formidable force deeply ingrained in culture. making it challenging for women to resist its influence. Even if a woman publicly declares or appears to be in a monogamous relationship, research suggests that secret infidelity is more prevalent than acknowledged monogamy, especially in Western societies. Putting aside the broader discussion, the use of social media for personal branding is not comparable to promoting a business. When a woman consistently posts attractive selfies or seeks attention regularly, it becomes a potentially perilous sign. Such behavior, akin to marketing oneself as a product, implies a deliberate effort to attract attention and engage with other men. Frequent posts, particularly those appealing for attention, create a scenario where her phone becomes a magnet for other men's attention. The consistent efforts to interact with men, rather than women, are evident. The fact that men, not women, are engaging in her DMs on platforms like Instagram reinforces this dynamic, underscoring her deliberate attempt to attract male attention. In summary, the detection of red flags in men's actions by women often finds its roots in the complex interplay of hypergamy, convenience, instincts, and the pursuit of desirability and attention. Understanding these dynamics provides insights into the intricacies of modern relationships. Women are hypergamous due to the convenience it offers. It provides a space to unload emotional baggage and engage in feelings of revenge if applicable, likely if there's a desire to leave. Leaving for greener pastures fosters a sense of desirability. Additionally, the thrill of lustful conquest serves as a motivating force until the decision to truly love someone is made. The argument that love is an action rather than merely a feeling is often contested. Despite not always feeling inclined to do what loving someone requires, taking such actions signifies genuine love. Concerning men's perspectives, studies indicate a preference for working with other men rather than women. This growing preference over the past decade illustrates the increasing wariness men harbor towards women. In cubicles, meetings, and boardrooms, men lean towards collaboration with other males to share information, discuss ideas, and coordinate schedules. This inclination arises from the fear of jeopardizing hard-earned careers with one unfounded accusation, especially in a society that tends to believe and prioritize women's statements. Men are culturally expected to dedicate their lives to providing, protecting, and assisting women, a role many embrace with pride and honor. However, the paradox lies in women expecting everything from men, despite advocating for equality and decrying historical oppression. The discrepancy becomes apparent when women, both online and in social circles, focus on discussing red flags in men while overlooking their own. In their minds, they perceive themselves as flawless, always right about their thoughts, and incapable of wrongdoing, a mindset ingrained in their DNA, contributing to the perpetuation of the red flag conundrum. And that's it for today on Sigma Traits. Make sure you hit that like button, smash that subscribe button, and don't forget to ring that notification bell. Support this channel through membership. You can also support through PayPal link in the description. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. See you all tomorrow.